Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for August 21st, 2020 from 1 Kings chapter 3, Solomon's Prayer for Wisdom. Verse 3, Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and made offerings at the high places. Keep in mind, Solomon is not perfect. Sacrifices and offerings were supposed to be made at Jerusalem, where the Ark of the Covenant was located. But many in today's world sometimes say, I can worship God wherever I want. Well, maybe the better question would be, where does God want you to worship him? Verse 4, And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Solomon used to offer 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, Ask what I shall give you. This was a special invitation from God. And God doesn't give this invitation to everyone, but for Solomon, he did. Verse 9, Give your servant therefore an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to govern this your great people? The Lord's response, verse 10, It pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this. And God said to him, Because you have asked this, and have not asked for yourself long life, or riches, or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern what is right, behold, I now do according to your word. Behold, I give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you has been before you, and none like you shall arise after you. But like the old adage, be careful about what you wish for. You may get it. Keep in mind, there is a difference between wisdom from the world's point of view versus wisdom from God's point of view. From Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10, The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. Let me backtrack to verse 1 for a moment. Solomon made a marriage alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had finished building his own house and the house of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. The people of Israel were not supposed to marry outside their religion. Verse 1 notes a very wise political move, but one contrary to God's word. Remember, Solomon isn't perfect, just like any leader is not perfect. But God still blessed Solomon. Verse 13, I will give you also what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that no other king shall compare with you all your days. King Solomon has been considered by many the richest person this world has ever seen. God did keep that promise. While we may be in awe about all the riches, what is more important? Jesus answers that in Matthew chapter 6, verse 28. And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Faith and trust in God's promises is more important than all the riches of the world, for you can't take it with you. Again, Jesus states in Mark chapter 8, verse 36, For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? For what can a man give in return for his soul? So with all these blessings from God, there is a reminder. Verse 14, And if you will walk in my ways, keeping my statutes and commandments as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. Did Solomon understand the correct message? Remember, all of this was happening while he was offering sacrifices in Gibeon instead of Jerusalem. So what would Solomon's response be after all of this? Verse 15. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Then he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings, and made a feast for all his servants. Solomon got the message this time. Join me again tomorrow as we hear about 2 women, but 1 child. God's peace and many blessings be with you. Thank you for watching, and please share this devotion with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for watching.